Hey, today we're back working on Project 252 and we found something unexpected. But, you know what? I'm kind of glad I found this problem because it's a pretty common problem from what I remember from, used to own one of these machines 20 years ago. It's what I started out with. It's a great starter machine as far as used equipment, especially if you get the one that doesn't have they put electronic safety in the hand controls to where if you lift your hand off, it deactivates, shuts off the cutter wheel. The other ones had just pure hydraulic, and those are even simpler. Okay, so that's the only thing complicated about one of these models. And if you're going to be in this business or start out in this business, and you're going to buy a used machine, especially, or your dealer is far away, and far away could be just an hour away. That's no one's going to know your machine as well as you're going to know your machine. Because you go to a dealer, they may work on one of these machines maybe once a month, something like that. Then you have all the different other models that have come out through the years that they're going to be working on. So as far as being a true specialist on one of these machines, you're going to become the true specialist. Or, I got to tell you, if you want to be in this business, a lawn business, the tree business, you have to learn how to repair things on your own. Okay, if it's something major that, it's very, very technical, sure, that's what a dealership's for. Or a heavy equipment mechanic, let's just say. But simple things, even some lighter fabrication skills, you need to learn them. And years ago, I learned by, there was no YouTube, and shops didn't want to give you a secret or tell you how. Lucky for me, my old Vermeer dealership years ago had a parts guy that was a super guy. He was a mechanic before he was a parts guy, and he was older already. And he would show me. I'd go to tell him a problem. He said, oh, this is what you need, and this is how it went together. And it's actually how old auto parts stores used to function. Used to be old mechanics, but they couldn't be mechanic anymore. It became the counter guy at the parts store. Now you got somebody that doesn't even know what the front or rear of a car is. It's anybody. They're dying for anybody to show up to work. Oh, it's a computer screen, whatever. And the car needs an alternator. If you ask my son what an alternator is, he's just now learning. He's 23. So how is some other young person that hadn't been around cars or had an uncle or dad or someone to teach them or went to school for what an alternator is? That's a different subject. But anyway, we're back to the 252. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you a problem that's very common to them when they get old and something I'm having to fabricate. Right? It's not no gigantic fabrication, but truly I didn't even want to do it because, I've been so busy grinding. And when I found this problem, I was like, you know what? I could just patch it, touch it up here and there. I'm going to sell the machine anyway. But I said, no. I'll fix it and fix it solid. That way the next guy won't have a problem for a long time. All right? So give me a minute. Okay, here's Project 252. All right, as some of you already know what a 252 is. If you don't, it was the base model stump grinder Vermeer produced for years and years and years. They only made certain little changes to this machine. All right, there's your cutter wheel. It's been upgraded with the 900 series, right? So now we have less teeth, more aggressive cutting, and these 900s have more pronounced coming out from the wheel, so they cut more aggressive. And it's a thicker carbide that you can able to turn 3 times. Now, I took this cover off. There's your cover plate, it goes on right here. 1/2 inch nuts hold it on. Over here it's typically 1/2 inch, but I noticed there was missing one, and this one here was kind of cockeyed and stripped, which is very common. All right, what's behind these two? They started cutting me off. They weld on nuts behind. Okay, it's hard to get my finger up there, but there it is, in my smashed finger. All right, so I'm cutting those off in the back, those nuts, because they're stripped out. So that's one little fabrication. That's nothing hard. All right, now, when I took off this cover to do an inspection, I noticed this. The pulley was broken here. Had the belt on and all, but the pulley is broke. To get this belt off, you have to loosen these adjusters and kick this down. I'll show you, we'll do a video on adjusting the belts of this in the future. But now we're dealing with this problem. All right, so we had a broken pulley. Belt was on it, we got the belt off. Now, some of you don't understand this system right here. Very common with hubs. It's already expanded out, but what it is these holes here that are open, okay? Those holes, that's where these bolts originated in, and you tighten this pulley onto this hub. To get this pulley off that hub and off the shaft, you take the bolts out of here, you put them into these, there's other holes. And these ones here are already, you'll know, these are smooth bore all the way in. These have threads into here. So these thread into here as you screw them in, and you go in sequence. All right, a screw here a little bit, jump, screw, 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 screw. You don't screw one hard all the way. You just couple of screws, couple of screws, couple of screws, couple of screws, couple of screws. What that does is force this hub off the pulley and off the shaft. Because right here is a keyway, right? Before you do this removal, you go up top, there's an Allen deep down in here. Loosen that Allen up, spray some lubricant in it, loosen it up, spray some on the shaft here and spray some in these holes. Then you remove those screws, put them in these locations, and start pulling it off. What happens when you do that? I would have caught, I'm carrying the camera one hit. Doesn't matter, it's broke. There's your hub. You see? These bolts went through. They pushed against. I'll show you. Yeah. They pushed against this hub, pulling that hub out. You see the ones with the threads in here? Those are the ones to when you're putting it back in, you go through the other holes and it sucks the collar in. So now you know. A little bit of knowledge. Now we got this off. I'll order it from Vermeer. And these do wear too, even if yours is not broken. You can run them sometimes and you'll feel them. These will get very sharp. And that's when you notice you start blasting belts. They don't last long. Change both pulleys. This one comes off the same way. You'll extract these. And then you'll screw these into these. It'll pull that pulley off. All right, so now we know how to get the pulleys off. So that was one problem I found. Here's problem number 2. All right, where you need to learn a little fabrication. It was getting dirt around the belt system. And you'll have this cover. If you own one of these machines, you'll see it. You see, you can tell this cover has been welded and worked on before, so I'll have to do some cleanup work on that. And I'll cut off the nuts that are behind and weld new nuts on it. And I probably will go up to like a 9/16 type nut. Right? But that was one problem. This thing was loose like this, letting dirt in. But what makes them get loose also is this. Behind here, down here, there's a bolt to where what happens is you take these 2 bolts off up top, and then this cover swings down out of your way, see? Now I'm holding this one hand because it's heavy, but I'm going to show you what happened. See, when you pull this bolt out, and you'll see what's going on. These 2 pieces of pipe tubing are welded to this cover. The center here is welded on. I know you're confused right now, so what's that piece of metal? Let me get this out and we'll see. Very difficult to do it one here, but and the magic of YouTube land. All right. You see the bolt runs through this end, and the center has another piece right there. Well, what happened is, look how oblong it is. It's very thin. It's almost going to break. This cover was very sloppy. Had a lot of slop in it like that. Dirt would get in here, destroy belts. And then their bolt got so worn over time doing this, it tore the metal. See, it tore it straight across. Now I could have heated it up, hammered it back, welded across here, and call it a good day. And where that goes is, it goes about, give me a second here, I'm one-handed lefty Louie here. It goes like that. I cut it off. A nice straight cut, cut it off here. So now I'm going to fabricate a new piece of steel, weld it up in here. I'll go to a metal supplier, or even, you know, Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever, find some proper thickness tubing, or a metal supplier, and have to cut a little piece. And I'll have to look how this is done. It's just welded on the backside from the factory. And see how much wear it takes. So it's time for a new piece. You can't go out and buy this piece. This whole structure here, if it unbolted off, would be great, but it's welded on. And I'm sure, I don't know, I didn't look in the parts catalog. I'm sure they might sell that, but I'm not going to do all that cutting and all when I can fabricate this. So, I have some leftover steel. That's another reason you keep pieces of steel laying around. I go to job sites, I find stuff, old construction sites or whatever, since I do contract work. And guys look at me, why is he picking up the piece of scrap crap we just cut off? They don't know I'm going to use it. Somehow, some way, I'll use it. All right, so that's going to be my project. When I get it welded up and tacked up, and I'll show it to you later when it's done. I'll weld the two nuts on the back. But if you're buying a 252 used one, all it is a 1/2-inch wrench here. This cover will swing down. Inspect it before you buy it. And then when it's swinging down, very important, when it swings down, check for the play this way. Then you'll know you're possibly going to have to do the same repair. Look at it and see, maybe it's close enough to where all the metal's still okay. You just got to cut off that little small piece of tubing and weld another piece of tubing. But to get at that part, it's not hard. To do this repair, you have to take the pulley off anyway. Say I found mine was broke anyway. You take the pulley off. This, you got to take out 2 of these. They have nuts in the back, holders for the shield. You got to take those off and place it out of the way, and then you're good to work in that area with a MIG welder. And if you don't have a welder, if you do some of the work, a portable welding guy could come out and do this, or a friend of yours that has a car shop or whatever, he can do this repair for you. It's not going to be that complicated, right? It just takes a little thinking, a little time, and anyway, enough. I'm not going to make this a long video. Just want to say thanks very much. So if you're buying a 252, this is something to watch out for, that plate there. And we'll go over other parts as we repair this machine. Have a great day. God bless you.